Hi, I'm Leigh Sistek, and I'm here today with Dan Flavin of Supreme Lending. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Great. So, I wanted to ask you about your Path to Buy program. I know we've talked about it. Can you go into depth and tell us what it's all about?
Sure. The Path to Buy program, I wanted to create something for people that don't know where to start in the home buying process, because the home buying process can be very intimidating. First time home, it's not something that we're taught as consumers typically, and it's easy, it's free. And what we do, we just have a conversation. It's not really going through the approval process, although it can lead to that. What we're doing is we're looking at, the big things that get people ready to buy, which is going to be, we're going to look at their credit. We're going to look at the stability of their income and their jobs and stuff like that. We're going to look at their assets. A lot of times I teach people how to structure their debt. And then we set a budget, for what's affordable. People are renting typically, so they have a budgetary number in mind. And we can set up goals, depending on how much money they need and stuff like that. They can, we can create a savings program. A lot of times people, when they come to me, have already started that process. They're already doing that. And they're most of the way, done. So it can be, an immediate approval, or it can be, something that takes 6 months, or, 6 weeks, 6 months, a year or two. It's whatever their timeline is. But it's a starting point, and it
Right.
gets people ready. And that way they're on their own timeline, and,
Sure.
and ready to get out there and buy. So
Yeah, that's great. And like you said, it can be intimidating, for first-time home buyers, like what's involved. Having an expert who has done this, who's kind of built this program, you know, regardless of what stage you're at, I think is great. And, the fact that it's a free service, uh, to me, it sounds like a no-brainer. If someone is really, thinking about it, feeling unsure, I mean, working with an experienced lender really, really matters. Have you had success with this program and
Oh
helping
yeah,
people?
I've been doing this for years, and a lot of past clients, a lot of friends and family, introduced me to people that are just beginning the process. And there's success stories for people that are ready right away. People that have great credit and they've already saved up some money, and they're ready to go, and they just need to know what the payment's going to be and what the cash to close is and
Sure,
stuff like that.
sure.
Then there's other people that have gotten into a bind, maybe with some credit issues. So we teach them how to get those fixed up, how to get the scores as high as possible.
Right.
Even with the credit karmas out there and the different services, the credit monitoring services, those are good tools to track which way your scores are trending.
Sure.
But we go a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper on that, because interest rates are going to be based on credit scores and that kind of thing. So we want people to take the time to get the scores as high as possible before they're ready to buy. And then there's people that sometimes they take a year or longer. Self-employed is people that own their own business and are self-employed. There's unique challenges to that, and I have had success where, I've taught people how to structure their tax returns
Excellent.
so that they, limit their tax liability and increase their buying power. And people just don't know that. They don't know how to do that, and so I work with accountants and financial advisors and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in today, having this discussion. I think it's important to get this information out there. So, Dan, if someone listening would be interested in talking to you, what's the best way for them to reach you and
Yeah.
learn more about the Path to
The
Buy?
best number for me is my cell phone number. It's 410-935-3528. Email address is dan.flavin@supremelending.com. And then my website's danflavin.supremelending.com.
This is great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us.